May I, Your Honor? The evidence in this case will establish above everything else 3 points. There was no collision with John O'Keefe.
Again, I don't remember ever saying the words praying over him. I do distinctly remember I hit him.
She felt she struck something.
John O'Keefe to the defendant, sick of always arguing and fighting. It's been weekly for several months now. So yeah, I'm not as quick to jump back into being lovey-dovey as you apparently. 2:32:28 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:32:47 p.m., the defendant calls John. That call is rejected. John O'Keefe to the defendant, OMG, stop calling. 2:32:54 p.m. on the 28th.
There was no collision. At no time did my client walk over and have a conversation with you. Did she?
She did in the video.
The closest I must have said was, did I hit him? I know I said I hit him, but did I really say it as many times as law enforcement is claiming I said it?
There was no collision.
There's zero chance this was an accident. There was zero chance John was hit by a vehicle.
John O'Keefe did not die from being hit by a vehicle. Period.
If you look at the white part, it's the upper left. It's sort of like a rectangle, but it's vertical. It's like an encasement, but the right side, I think it was the right side, was sticking out a little bit, like out from the car toward me.
Did you express any concern about the metal sticking out?
Yes, because I thought at that height it could clip someone's coat or something if they were walking by.
She said, Dad, I think I struck something.
From the defendant to John O'Keefe, so you're not into this anymore. 2:33:41 p.m. on the 28th. With John O'Keefe to the defendant, not into fighting all the time, correct. 2:34:03 p.m. on the 28th. From the defendant to John O'Keefe, if you tell me you're interested in someone else, you will never hear from me again. You can have all the space in the world. 2:34:11 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, he sends an emoji.
She said, do you think I hit him? Do you think I hit him? And my answer was no, I don't think you hit him. I'm sure you hit something because your taillight's broken, but I don't think you hit him.
When my car was seized, there was a few small pieces of taillight missing that I had picked out at John's at 5:45 before we drove over to Fairview. I'm showing Jim and Carrie, look what I just did to my light, and I'm worried that there's going to be some kind of electric short circuit. There's like the bulb is showing and some of the red plastic's missing. So I picked pieces out of the light housing that had kind of collapsed within the light and dropped them in John's driveway.
She asked if somebody could survive after having been found in the snow without a jacket, correct?
For many hours, correct.
What do you mean technically?
Technically, I was under oath, and I did not hear Karen asked Jen to Google it.
And yet under oath...
But I knew it happened at that time.
And yet under oath you said you did.
Correct.
There's also a box for signs and symptoms, right?
There is.
And nowhere in the signs and symptoms box is snarkiness mentioned, correct?
No, I don't think that would be medically appropriate.
Was that a lie? Did you lie?
I did not intentionally.
But you did.
And
not intentionally.
Okay, that's the end of
Understood
this.
the question, Mr. Jackson.
All right, is there any other question or is that it?
I didn't know what she just said.
I said I misunderstood the question, Mr. Jackson.
2:34:29 p.m. The defendant calls John. He rejects the call. John O'Keefe to the defendant. I'm not answering. Stop calling.
Well, she said that he had been out in the snow with no jacket on for many hours.
And you assumed hypothermia was your testimony, correct?
Yes.
You are not qualified to diagnose hypothermia, are you?
I'm not a doctor.
When you first saw Kaylee, what did she look like?
She looked distraught.
His mother leans over the kitchen island and says to me, I think he looks like he got hit by a car. He looks like he got hit by a car.
I hear Karen Reed yell, Peg, is he dead? Is he dead, Peg? Peg, is he dead?
it's impossible for me to have any sympathy.
Was the weakest vodka tonic. It tasted just like old soda water with lime. Not that I needed to be a martini, but it might have had a splash of vodka in it. So I said, John, this drink tastes like it has no vodka in it. He said, just get a shot and mix it yourself.
The defendant, John O'Keefe, I'm going to grab a drink in a bit. 2:38:14 p.m. on the 28th. 2:38:42 p.m. The defendant calls John. That call is rejected. The defendant to John O'Keefe, can you please answer? 2:38:52 p.m. on the 28th. From John O'Keefe to the defendant, no, Karen. Not sure why you need to announce that you're going. Not sure why you need to announce that you're grabbing a drink, but have fun.
So each drink was being counted as a double. So I would get a vodka tonic, and then I would pour a shot into it, so that counts too. Frankly, it just felt like a regular cocktail. It was just a really weak pour, so I asked for a shot. So for my taste, it just tasted like that's the normal strength of what a drink should be. So I had maybe 2 or 3 that are being counted as 4 and 6, and I don't know.
She said they had, the last time they had talked, she had gotten into an argument. So she was upset that was like her last words to him.
To John O'Keefe, okay, can you please call me for 2 minutes? 2:44:14 p.m. on the 28th. John O'Keefe to the defendant, not right now. 2:44:23 p.m. on the 28th. The defendant to John O'Keefe, I'm there when anyone else needs me. 2:44:26 p.m. on the 28th. At 2:45:32 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected.
They were certainly working on him at the hospital as a hypothermia patient.
You don't know if your assumption was correct or not, sir.
I guess I don't.
So that one glass that I'm holding, that I go to the water bowl with, has 3 drinks in it, a vodka tonic and 2 shots.
At 2:56 p.m., the defendant calls John. The call is rejected. At 2:51:13 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. 2:52:37 p.m., John calls the defendant. It's not answered. At 2:53:56, the defendant calls John. Again, not answered. The defendant, John O'Keefe, you seriously cannot pick up the phone for 2 seconds. 2:54:13 p.m. 2:58:05 p.m., the defendant calls John. It's rejected. At 2:59:13, John calls the defendant. The call is answered and they speak for 4 minutes, 59 seconds.
And doctor, what was the result of the testing for alcohol in the defendant's blood when it was taken shortly after 9 a.m. on January 29th?
93 milligrams per deciliter.
It had probably about 4. So that would have been my 5th, 6th, and 7th drinks. Then John orders me a drink of the water bowl that I don't drink, that he takes with him. And then there was around the shots that Chris Howard bought that I did take. So that would have been the 9th. But I did not consume 9 vodka martinis or take 9 shots.
I don't believe they're saying I wasn't in my right mind.
This appears to me, contrary to what you've argued, Mr. Alessi, that this is another violation of my order and of the reciprocal discovery violations. We need to figure all of this out before you're allowed to call these witnesses.
Hey guys, happy Sunday. Last week was pretty disastrous for Karen Reed. I think, if they established anything, it's that she is completely unhinged, from her mocking the victim's mother to her in vivid detail explaining why the drinks didn't taste enough like vodka for her taste. And she thinks that she can argue putting in another shot that's really just one drink. Like, bars aren't just splashing vodka in your drink. It's measured for the most part. In most bars, she's probably just used to having really heavy pours, or she's an alcoholic. I mean, the fact that she was ever a a professor at Bentley University that taught finance, and she is counting drinks like that. It's actually insane, because I can see myself thinking like that when I was in my 20s, but she's like an old hag now. And, you know, she has MS, so she can't, and they didn't find any evidence of MS medication in her system. So she either doesn't take the MS medication so that she can drink, or she's lying about the MS. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, the brain tumor was a lie. So, I don't know. She's whacked. She really is whacked. And I think, you know, it's just so unhinged. Like all of these things where she's talking about pulling the taillight pieces out after she went and harassed people saying that the taillight was planted and everyone's lying about the taillight. And then she, you know, before she came up with that lie, she's talking to Gretchen Voss on recording saying, yeah, I was pulling out the pieces in the driveway. So, I mean, needless to say, I feel like, you know, Jackson's going after all these witnesses. So day one, it was Timothy Nuttall. You know, I find him very credible. I don't think he has a reason to lie, but I also watch a lot of trials. I know that people's memory, I know how memory is. So, you know, you can witness something, and if everyone around you was talking about this happened and this happened, you kind of like will start to like take that as part of your memory. And that's why it's important to interview people early on. But at the same time, people aren't inventing things. So like you might know that you heard something, you might not visually be able to remember where everyone was and what was going on at the time. But you know that you heard it, but they were focused on something else. They were focused on saving a life. So him trying to catch him up, I don't even think he caught him up in anything. I mean, after all that badgering of him all day long, they play Karen saying, I know I said I hit him, but I just don't know how many times. I don't know if I said it as many times as law enforcement said I said it. So, what was all this harassment? Like Katie McLaughlin literally had to quit her job. I mean, because of the I hit him thing, and Karen is admitting it. Thank you for the 25, Macy. You know, I try to put these clips together and try to recap the important pieces. If I can, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but I think it's important because if you just listen to commentators, which I think a lot of people on her side do, I think there are people watching the trial, and even people that do, then you hear someone give their interpretation. So people that watch it through Melanie Little, they're getting her interpretation of it the entire time. Even if they are watching it, they are getting her spin. And then they take that on as that's what's being said. And anyone that watches it through one of those channels that constantly pauses and interrupts and interjects, I think if you do watch it through one of those channels, it should be one that like you don't see the person reacting. You should be able to take it in on your own, because that's how a jury would see it. I think it's hard to separate other people's opinions. And so that's what we saw with Carrie Roberts. So I think that, you know, at the grand jury, the first grand jury, she said that she heard, or whatever the question was, the way that it was worded. I think Lally asked it. I think the problem was the way that Lally asked her the question was like, oh, did you hear about what? So like if you put the extra word in about, did you hear about what Karen had asked Jen McCabe to Google? Or he probably didn't say it exactly like that, but something like that. Did you hear about it versus did you hear her? I think that's where she got mixed up. I don't think she was trying to lie on purpose. I just think that they were rehashing the story so many times that they both knew like all the events that happened. And she didn't acknowledge that he was asking her, did you have a firsthand account of seeing this or hearing this happen? And so I don't think it's a big deal. I think that, you know, the fact that the guy in the ambulance, she was also asking him the same thing. So I don't think, you know, what she definitely was asking it. I just think it's really bizarre that, you know, they went through all this trouble to try to twist it. I mean, I think it's really telling, because I don't think I knew this before. I never knew that, you know, the How Long to Die in Cold thing, I always thought it came out, you know, 15 months later. And then Jen came out and was like, oh, she asked me to Google it. I always thought it was a response, like it wasn't initially part of the story. But now that I know that it was part of the initial story, that I'm like, well, that definitely happened then. And it was just something that they try to twist, right? Because if they already had known that she had Googled that, like, it just makes it so much shadier that they try to lie and twist it and turn it around on Jen McCabe. So I think I heard that Julie Nagel might have been at the courthouse last week. I don't know if it's true, but so she might be one of the next witnesses. Richard Green admitted he was wrong about some things. He didn't admit he was wrong about everything. So like, I think they're going to have a hard time getting him on the stand. I think he's not going to want to testify because he's ruining his credibility. He admitted to being wrong about, he originally said that Jen McCabe Googled how long to digest food. And the problem is he's not certified in these software, so he doesn't know what he's reading. So what the report actually showed was that was one of the auto completions. So she started typing in how long to die in cold, and that was one of the auto completions. She didn't click on it and select it, but it was one of like the ones that try to complete your sentence, and it was like giving you an option to like choose that instead of completing your search in the Google bar. And he didn't know that, and that just goes to show like he's not a credible mobile forensics guy. He doesn't have the certification in Celebrite. He doesn't have a bachelor's degree. He didn't study mobile forensics at college level. And all of his training is from public access webinars as far as Celebrite goes. He might have had some other formal training and it might have been more generalized, but no. I agree. She was probably confused by Lally's question. I mean, like, we don't know. I think it's hard to know from the transcripts, but like, I feel like, because they don't capture the inflection of how you're saying it. Because it's like, did you hear? Or have you heard? Like it's very close in meaning. So it really kind of depends on the inflection. You won't be able to see that in the transcript. So I think it's reasonable to think that she could have, I don't think she like willingly lied about it. I don't think that people in the situation, I don't think anyone had a reason to. I think, if you want to say, I mean, there's really nobody in the situation that benefits from lying. Unless you're like covering something up for yourself, and Carrie has nothing to cover up. Carrie has no skin in the game. Yeah, Free Karen Reed conspiracy is all unraveling. And I mean, tomorrow is going to be fireworks. I mean, I'm very excited about ARCA. And the reason I'm excited about it is because they are professional witnesses. So like the way he cornered Carrie about that statement, she's not a professional witness. Nuttall also was just like, with the black eye. So like he cornered him about the black eye. He's like, I thought he had no injuries on the left side of his face. And Nuttall's like, he didn't. Everything was on the right side. He's like, well, he had a black eye. And Nuttall was like, yeah, well, it was an emanating blood pooling in the face, and it was going to both sides. And Jackson's like, so he did have an injury on the left side. And eventually he got him to agree that, yes, he had an injury on the left side. But like, to me, I would have never agreed to that because I'm like, no, that's not an injury. That doesn't mean there's an injury on the left side, And so it's things like that. So these are professional witnesses. So they're much harder to walk into what you want them to say. Like regular civilian witnesses, medics, civilians, even law enforcement are much easier to walk into certain things. Law enforcement's a little bit better. They have a little bit more skill in it, but these are professional litigators. So they're trained in how to, curb things. So it's going to be a throwdown. The biggest thing is like when Alessi said the 200 text messages, and I think I have this. Let me pull it up. Alessi said 200 text messages and going back 2 years, 100 text messages going back 2 years. Like they've been talking to ARCA for 2 years. Like that was like kind of shocking to me. Because, that's like the beginning of the Fed investigation. They're already talking to ARCA. So, I mean, it just seems super shady. And ARCA is going to want to bring in their stuff.
Mr. Jackson, if he provided them, because my order was clear, they were to be provided, and he said no. And I asked you at sidebar whether they were deleted, and you said yes, in due course. I have no idea what that means, Mr. Alessi. Why don't you explain that?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to explain it. Here's what it means. Like anybody's phone, those text messages are 2 years old. They're 2 years old. They don't exist.
So can you also tell me, doesn't the aren't the ABA guidelines the council is supposed to keep everything in a case for 5 or 7 years?
I do not believe that is the ABA rule with regard to experts. I'm unaware of that.
In regard to your client, and this was in regard to your client's case, right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I didn't hear you.
Records kept regard to your client's case, which these are experts that were, I mean, there's 100 text messages leading up to trial when I was told that by you that there was a pause email and then all of a sudden out of the blue a bill appeared in July. This shows that's not true, Mr. Alessi.
Your Honor, that was a different question that Your Honor asked me back then. That was about emails. That was not about text messages.
Have emails been provided?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
All emails have been provided. And that is why we are in compliance with all orders. And I will say also with regard to text messages, I have provided pursuant to every order. What does that timeline show? That timeline shows that the Commonwealth took 6 months from the last trial.
6 months?
And the defense took merely 2 days after they got the final report of aperture to retain ARCA. Last point I want to make, Your Honor, is the argument of the Commonwealth that we strategically waited to retain ARCA. Nothing could be further from the truth.
I agree, a violation of Rule 14, but not regarding rules of conduct. At a prior hearing, I found a violation of the defense's reciprocal discovery obligations. It was clear to me, and I found that it was deliberate. This appears to me, contrary to what you've argued, Mr. Alessi, that this is another violation of my order and of the reciprocal discovery violations. We need to figure all of this out before you're allowed to call these witnesses. So I'm going to have a voir dire hearing this Friday. I know we planned on having the view. I need the ARCA witnesses here Friday morning. So we need a voir dire, if you intend to call them, a voir dire on all of this. And I will be sending an order for production of records. I just need to amend it for ARCA to bring all these items with them. So Friday will be for ARCA for a voir dire hearing in the morning. So we'll see you tomorrow for trial, Friday morning for this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know what is going on with that video. I feel like the sound was delayed or something. So ARCA, I mean, I feel like ARCA, and it's in their best interest to just tell the truth. I mean, you know, they can try to spin things, you know, a certain way. That's what expert witnesses do. But when it comes to the discovery and when they met them and what they discussed, I mean, I think it's in their best interest to just tell the truth. Because, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to ruin your business? Because, you know, other people that are potentially going to hire them are going to watch this. They're going to see it. I mean, I've seen things in court cases where expert witnesses are objected to based on, you know, other cases where things like this have come out. So, I mean, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad because that is your business model. You are supposed to be hired. You're supposed to be independent. You're supposed to be credible. We know that's not true, but things on the record that show that you weren't being independent are just, you know, it's going to screw over your business. ARCA probably will fire Dr. Wolf and hire someone else to run their accident reconstruction piece. If something comes out that's bad. But it seems like Dr. Wolf is the one that was speaking with them the most. He seems like the most nervous one. So I think he's the head of the ARCA snake, and I think they only talked to Rentschler like 6 times. So it's Dr. Wolf is the one. I think he's the head of accident reconstruction. He's the one that probably helped get the contract signed with the feds, and he's the one that was communicating. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I would just tell the truth. I mean, I think there's a question of their credibility no matter what is said, because in the last trial, I hope Hank has the transcripts. He's going to pull them up and be like, well, when you were asked this question, you said, I never talked to you before, blah, 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 blah. But there's 100 text messages. So what do you mean? Yes, Dr. Wolf and AJ do seem to be the ones behind the scenes conspiring. So, I mean, Alan Jackson could be out tomorrow, depending on what comes out. Dr. Wolf should throw him under the bus. I mean, I think that is the best case scenario. You throw him under the bus. You just tell the truth. I mean, the problem is, like, it doesn't make sense what they tested. So I think ARCA is gonna, want to look good. And, if there was someone that guided them to like shoot the back of the car with a cannon, like, say that. Because if you're gonna go on the stand and be like, that was the best thing I could come up with, like, you look like an idiot. That's not a credibility issue. You're an idiot issue. So, like, I mean, I would just throw them under the bus. I mean, what are you gonna do? If someone told me, I was given like this guidance or whatever it was, there had to have been something, because they ignored half of the destruction in the car and they ignored half of the injuries to the body. Is it true that Alessi is in his 70s? I believe Alessi is 67. So, dyeing your hair does make you look a lot younger, apparently. His daughter doesn't seem that old. I guess maybe she could be 40. I don't know. She looks kind of young, though. But I guess he could have a young daughter. I really want to see the parents brought to the stand. I think he asked for that interview. I don't know if he got it. I know he's been showing. So the documentary is the best footage because it has uncut footage. The other ones, it seems like he can use because he has played some of them, but they are not uncut. So it seems like it's whatever played on TV. But I mean, the vodka one about her weak drinks, and I think I can't remember. It might have been a different clip, but I remember her going on and on saying like she wouldn't get on the highway. She knew she couldn't get on the highway, but she knew she wasn't lucid, and trying to. I don't know when that clip played though. I thought it was part of this one, but it wasn't part of the one that I just played on that video, where she talks about what she's trying to justify, like she was buzzed but not that drunk. Do I think Dr. Wolf will come with a lawyer? I mean, that looks bad if he does. That looks really bad, because they need to be credible, independent witnesses. Like that's their whole business model. I don't think that ARCA would get in trouble. I don't think it's more of they're going to ruin their reputation. They're going to ruin their business. But Dr. Wolf is probably, talking to corporate or whoever is in charge. I don't know if they're independent. I don't know how the company is structured. But I'm sure that he's getting a lot of guidance, and, it just looks bad. It looks really bad to be, conspiring behind the scenes. If they were just hired by the defense on their own, totally different thing, then everything would have been fine. But the problem is that they went and said that they were independent, and he testified to that. And AJ said it under, well, I don't know if it's called under oath, but he represented it to the court. They were independent. AJ also represented to the court incorrectly about Dr. Marie Russell. In the beginning, he said he reached out to her through an intermediary, but it turns out she saw like an article on Boston Globe and reached out and connected with him. So, I mean, yeah, that's one of my biggest questions. So Bill Reed in the morning calls 911 and asks for a ride to the hospital. He says his daughter's boyfriend was in an accident. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he wanted a ride to Brockton Hospital or the Good Samaritan Hospital. I don't think he got the ride. I think the brother must have came and picked him up. But that was like early in the morning. I think the visibility was bad. You know how like Free Karen Reed tries to make it out like there was just flurries. There was no snow on the ground, but apparently he called 911 because he couldn't even get out of his driveway. So the brother picks him up, but that's the thing. Like, I don't know which one of them drove Karen's car back, but I would assume it was either him or the brother. And that was mid blizzard. That was after it was, you know, more snow on the ground. And by the time the cops get to Dighton, the snow was like up to her like bumper. So, I mean, the snow was really coming down that day. If the Reeds get away with this, I'll be devastated. I mean, I agree. What's the plan, Dad? What about the argument that his body should have been more frozen by that time? I mean, I don't think that that's accurate. So the temperature, it was like right around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, right around 0 degrees Celsius. When he was hit, it was above. So it was above freezing. And by the time they found him, I think it was below 0 degrees Celsius. So below freezing, but not by much. So I don't think you can argue that because you don't know what time he actually passed, right? So if his heart was still beating, his body would have stayed warmer longer. There's mechanisms inside your body, but if everything stops pumping, that's when you start to get cold. So, I mean, there's no way to know if he could have died within an hour. Just because of the alcohol and the cold, blood loss, we don't know. So it's hard to say. Like if he died within an hour, I think he would have been a lot more frozen. But that him being alive longer means that she had a lot more time to save him. Yeah, when it snows, it gets a bit warmer. And like how they in Florida, like when we're getting, because we don't really get to 0 degrees, often we do. But when we do, they say to like water all of your stuff the night before. And I would think, well, wouldn't that make it freeze? But like it doesn't. It does something else. It like protects it. It like, I guess it keeps the ground warmer or something. But they always tell you to like water everything the night before a freeze. And I always thought like was not going to make it turn into ice if it goes below freezing. But apparently, so like I guess I don't know. There's some kind of warmth in the ground or something. Yeah, the temp was above 32 when he was hit, and then it dropped below. So it's hard to say because we don't know when his heart really stopped. And when she pulled that glass out of his face, blood was gushing. So, I mean, that was before he was dead. If that's true, I don't know why she says these things. I think she's just so whacked out. Like, she's enjoying this so much, and it's, like, so obvious. I hope that the jury is, like... I heard that one of the jury, like, their mouth dropped when she was making fun of Mrs. O'Keefe. Saying, he got hit by a car. I mean, I just can't. And I was seeing stuff on Twitter today where they're like ragging on Peggy and, saying all this like nasty stuff about a victim's mother. I mean, it's just Karen Reed really is evil. I just can't imagine a situation like if I was in her situation, God forbid. But if I was, I would be so devastated that I did that. Well, it wouldn't have been on purpose. I don't have rage. But like if I hit someone with a car and like realized it, I would not want to, I don't know. I would not want people being mean to the family or the kids it's just bizarre. Like that's why I'm like, she's just evil. Like there's nothing normal about it. Like her whole family, like one of them should have talked her out of it. Like they all don't care. And it's really, really disturbing. Yep. Exactly. I mean, hateful Karen attracts other hateful people. I mean, this is why they make us read Lord of the Flies when we're in high school. We read The Crucible. We read these stories about mob mentality because it's, the essence of evil human nature. And it's trying to educate people about it so that history doesn't repeat. And, the Karen Reed people, they're not too educated. And even if they are, I feel like they, feeling like they're a part of something and connected to others and united in hatred. I think even if their brain is, figuring out that she's guilty and figuring out that these are innocent people, they don't care. It's evil. It's the reason why they make us read these books. And I think, I don't know. I hope that, I feel like some people do wake up though. I just think that for the most part, 70% of them are just like bad people. I know like a lot of people try to say, oh, they're good people. They're just led in the wrong direction. No. No, you can't be led to do bad things. You have a brain. We all got the same education growing up. We all should know about this stuff. And we should all question these things. It's weird. Even in the beginning when I was believing her, which was only for a week, I don't know. I felt something. Like I felt like, I don't know, like something wasn't right. The way that I was like repeating the stuff about, I don't even remember what I said, but it was like, the whole conspiracy had kind of formed, but it was like, Colin Albert, I think his Knuckles, Jen McCabe, the Google search. I don't know. I made a video about it and I didn't feel like right. Like it didn't, I don't know. I was like iffy about it. Like I was like, I don't know. This doesn't feel right. And it's intuition. It's like people know. And like, you should trust your intuition. I mean, it was too good to be true. Like I knew Turtle Boy was a bad person, but I was like, oh, maybe he like actually is on the right side of something for once. Maybe he actually did find a real story. And that's what I thought. But even, I don't know what it was, like where the intuition came from, whether it was being associated with him, whether it was just, I hadn't really thought about like, does this really add up? I hadn't really like thought it all the way through maybe. And I just jumped on too quick. But I just felt, I knew that it was wrong. Like deep down, I knew that it was wrong. And so, I don't know. I think that other people probably feel that too. And I think other people probably ignore it because like, I felt like a connection, the parasocial connection to Karen Reed, where I like felt sorry for her. And even when I started to realize I still felt sorry, I was like, it's an accident. Like what a horrible situation to be in. But I don't know. And it's a lot of cases I think that a lot of cases that I follow closely, I get that towards victims usually. And like eventually it's painful. It's a little bit painful, but you have to like wake up. I mean, there was one point when I believed everything the Menendez brothers said. And like, I still believe like somewhat, but like there was one point where I really believed like everything that they said. And I heard the recording of them talking to their therapist or whatever. And it was, I don't know. It was very like earth shattering because I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why did I believe this shit? Not that it's that I think there is a lot of truth to it. I'm just saying like, but that recording with their therapist before anything happened, it was like hard to deny that, it was premeditated at least. Right. So, I mean, and their whole like the Law and Order series shows them as it was just self-defense, completely self-defense. And I like after watching that Law and Order series, I like believed it. But I think that's important to like challenge yourself on these things. Like Scott Peterson, the first documentary I ever saw was his, what channel was that on? It's good. And it really made me think he was innocent. And, I believed that for a minute. but I think it's a good mental exercise to go through those sides, and you know, it's disappointing when you are believing something and you're like, oh no, this is justice for like Scott Peterson. Oh my god, you know, like, but then it's like, wake up, wakey, and having that like aha moment, I think is important, and people should go through it. I think it's important to like watch both sides of things and, you know, test it out, like see how easy you are to influence. I mean, I test myself all the time with these things. The staircase I'm still divided on. I haven't finished watching, but I'm like, I still don't know. I can't. I don't know. Casey Anthony, that case, I mean, I believe that she's responsible for her daughter's death 100%. But that case was very complicated. Like, I don't think that, you know, in that case, I think there was reasonable doubt. Like, if I was on the jury, though, I wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, get away with everything. It would have been like manslaughter, a second-degree murder. I just couldn't tell if it was like first degree. I don't think that they proved it. OJ, I mean, I don't know. OJ is like, I was influenced at that point. I wasn't paying attention, so I don't know. I just know that like people that I knew already thought he was guilty before anyone knew any evidence. And like people were watching the case, but like, and I think that happens a lot. Like the Menendez brothers, everyone just thought they were guilty and lying immediately. I don't know. I just think it's, you know, it's a fine line where you shouldn't have like a very strong opinion unless you really dug into these things. And even then it's like, oh, do you really want to know all the details of these horrible things? OJ did have the blood in his Bronco. I mean, the thing about, and it was, so that was like the biggest thing for me is the blood in OJ's Bronco. It was Ron Goldman's blood too, a little, but it was like a tiny little speck. But Ron Goldman had no reason to ever be in his Bronco. Nicole could be explained, but I mean, I think that was pretty damning. I mean, I guess people just thought, I guess that jury thought that everything was planted. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what that jury was like thinking. Like, yeah, I mean, did they think that it was planted? Like, I don't know. And the glove did fit. I always found the glove thing as like, I thought he was just like spreading his fingers. I never believed that it didn't fit. Like because you know, like leather gloves are thin, like you can easily like spread your fingers to make it not look like it fits. But like, I guess like the blood and stuff could have shrunk it too. But I just felt like he was faking at that point. I never believed the glove thing. I was like, he is full of shit. Like, get that glove on that goddamn hand. Like, come on. And I guess the witness, I remember like Kato Kalin from that trial, like he was like a really interesting witness. I think OJ ran into like, it's so crazy because they were like rich people and they had window air conditioners, which is just so bizarre. And someone ran into the air conditioner that night. Or that's the part that I kind of remember. That was probably the first case. I mean, I watched a few cases back then. I think I was that one. I watched part of the teacher that got the student to kill her husband. What the hell? Pamela Smart. Pamela Smart's trying to get out of jail too. I don't know. In some ways, I feel like people should get second chances, but I don't know. I don't know if someone ran into the AC, but I remember some details about that in the trial with OJ that like Kato Kalin heard someone run into the AC or something like that, like cutting through like the back because he was like renting the room behind his house or something. I don't know if it ever like grew into anything. These clips are bad. I mean, I just can't. She seems so unhinged. Like, especially that one where she's like all like smiling about her. Like, why would you ever say that? Like, as a 40-something-year-old woman, like that is not normal. Like, I think she's like trying to appeal to this crowd of wine moms that I don't know. Like, I don't think that adults drink like that and then go out and drive. I really don't. Like, like, that's a lot to drink. Like, that really is a lot to drink. Oh, it was like all those doubles, like 9, like 4 doubles. I guess 4 doubles. That's a lot though. Like, I would never take any shots and drive ever. Thoughts on AJ's opening saying both John and Karen got out of the car? I don't even remember him saying that. He's saying that they both got out of the car at Fairview? I don't even know. I'll have to go back and listen. I don't remember him saying that though. I was young. I mean, young. Like 11, 12 probably. But it was like when the trials were first starting to be on TV. So it was like a big thing because you never got all that information before. Like Pamela Smart was like, they wiretapped her. Like, I mean, they don't do that shit anymore. That I can remember. I don't remember another trial where they've done that. But it was interesting. Like, she was shocking to me because she seems nice. Or when I was a kid anyway, I was like, she looks sweet. Like, I can't believe she's doing that. Brennan said Karen had Lexus in neutral for 2 minutes before reversing. Well, Nagel said that she was never in park. Like, her foot was on the brake the whole time. So she drove, put it in neutral. So, like, that's what I wonder, if he got out of the car, like, by the Asian house and then started walking. But I don't know. His GPS doesn't really show that. Matt doesn't believe this shit. He is making money off of you idiots. I don't know what shit. What shit do I not believe? I believe OJ is guilty. Well, yeah, he's guilty. If you look at that trial compared to the Karen Reed trial, there's so much more evidence in the Karen Reed trial. So many more witnesses, so much more exact evidence. Every murder trial is circumstantial evidence. I know that, like, Karen Reed's side tries to argue that all the time, that it's like, it's all circumstantial. Every murder trial is circumstantial. And it's the preponderance of evidence. And in this case, there is a shit ton of evidence. Like, I've never seen this much evidence. Like, there's, because we have the data, like digital data, your phone, that's in a lot of cases now, the car data, the physical data, like the murder weapon on him, and then she's with the murder weapon. Her statements are crazy. Her going back to the scene, her being able to find him beneath the snow, her saying he was hit by a plow. And she admits all these things too. So it's like, if she kept her mouth shut, but the problem is she's on TV saying all these things. So it's like, she actually did think, her first thought was that he was hit by a plow. How realistic is that? And like, he had no jacket. Why would he be walking with no jacket in the snow? Like, you think that Jen McCabe's going to be like, yeah, go walk home 2 miles. Physics shows she did hit him. And we'll see it tomorrow. We'll see what kind of science they come up with tomorrow. Not 2 minutes, 20 seconds, I thought I heard. I'll have to listen again. I don't even know. I don't remember him saying a time, though, at all. I thought he just said it went into neutral, and then it went in reverse. The tires spun. Yeah, I wonder if the car can see when he got out of the car. Like, I'm thinking, the 36 steps, I don't think steps are that accurate in general, but like, his GPS data, I don't think moved. So I would think that he didn't even have to walk to the back of the car, really. He could have got out. she could have pulled away as he was stepping out and he could have fell down. Like, that was the original thing that I thought, is that she, as he was getting out, she was pissed and like floored it as he was stepping out, which made him fall on the ground, and then she backed into him. But I since don't, unless he got all the way back up again. I don't know. I don't put a potato cannon in the physics category either. I mean, Hank also mentioned the car data has its own timeline, own clock, tight timeline. I mean, I just think that her text messages are just so unhinged that day. I just think that, like, she was badgering him. Like, she sent like 100 messages in an hour, like between 2 and 3 o'clock, and called him like how many times? Like, are you psychotic? Like, that's really psychotic. Like, if you're in a fight, just shut up and go do some yoga, go watch a show, go for a walk. Like, you don't need to badger the guy. You know that he's busy with kids and stuff. Like, it's really, really mental. Like, it really is mental. I don't know. It's just so bizarre. So, like, I think in a way, though, the way that she was calling and texting him does show that maybe she really didn't know anything was going on, because of, she already was, you know, when she called him 50 times. But I don't know. I don't believe that, but I'm just saying, like, I think that she was mental and is mental. She's still mental. I've always thought the spoiler too. I mean, it could have caused a split. I mean, it's going to depend. I mean, I think that any number of things could have happened. I think that, you know, Arca kind of argued that it was like, if it was his center of mass, he could be thrown further, right? But if it's a side swipe, there's not that much damage to the body. You're not thrown that far. You're spun around. But what about like in between the two extremes? And I think that's more of what it was. Like, I think he could have been like trying to get out of the way. She still clipped him, but there was still some force over his center of mass that pushed him forward. But I think also he could have gotten mostly out of the way and spun around, and he was still like kind of on his feet, but like pushed out of his shoe and tried to keep his like footing, and then fell backwards. Because I mean, at that speed, I don't know what speed it is either. I don't think Hank set a speed. So if it's not 24 miles per hour, I think it could be slower. I mean, the 24 miles per hour probably, I don't think we knew that the tire spun before. So he has more data. Yeah, I agree with that. She knew she hit him. She just still expected him to answer the phone. She didn't realize the extent of the damage. Like, and I can understand, like, in a car like that, you just hear like a thump. You saw his glass. He probably heard the glass shatter on the back of her window and just thought she knocked his drink and knocked him down, and didn't think, just thought he was going to like be pissed off, you know? But I don't know. I think 20 minutes later, when she's saying, "John, nobody knows where you are," I already think she's figuring it out. And I think that it'll be interesting to like see what other phone data they have on her. Because I think in that period of time, there's the 12:37 voicemail where she says, "John, I effing hate you." She's raging. That voicemail comes in, like, allegedly she connects to the Wi-Fi before that, but I think, I don't know. Like, I don't trust the 12:36 timestamp, just because it took her 5 minutes then to get into the garage, which it could have. You know, she might have had to go in the house, open the garage door, and come in. Maybe. She could have already looked at the back of her car and said, "John, I effing hate you." In interviews, she says that she was blasting U2, and we don't hear that in the voicemail. So that would mean that she is out of the car, that she stopped and looked at the car, like before she went in the garage. And that was John, I Hate You, maybe. Because she said that she was blasting her music, and she knows because when she started her car that morning, the music was still blasting. And we don't hear blasting music in those voicemails. So maybe John, I Hate You she got out of the car, but she wasn't in the garage yet. And then at 12:41, after she goes in the house, opens the garage door, pulls the car in, then we had the 12:41, her walking around in the garage. But I think between that and the next voicemail, which I think is like 12:59 or something, I think there's like 20 minutes there. I don't think there's anything going on in her phone. So I don't know what she would be doing at that time. She might just be like staring at her car. Like she might have spent that time like staring at her car, like, what the hell am I going to do? Making a vodka. She could have been making a vodka. I do want to know more about the ring videos. I just feel like chances are slim that, because I mean, I think that was a pivotal part of the case last time, and they didn't have anything last time. But you never know. She hadn't seen any. I think initial calls, where is that? I think initial calls were her knowing that she hit him, trying to get him to answer by any means, not covering herself. That was later. I mean, I think that's accurate. I mean, I think she knew she hit him. I don't think she thought he was even unconscious. I just thought she had more to say. She hit him, like she treated it like she just like slapped him in the face or threw a drink on him, right? She didn't treat him like she hit him with the car. And so she still wanted to fight with him. But like, she knew that she was too drunk to get on the highway, so she went back to his house and then pretended like nobody knows where you are. I don't know. The part that she went back to his house, that's almost like she already was planning something, because she said she wasn't supposed to stay over that night. The plumber was going to come in the morning or something. And I don't know. I feel like she went there because she knew she hit him and was realizing things were worse than what she thought. And she kind of didn't know what to do. And she was going to pretend like she left him at the bar and he never came home. That's what she was going to pretend. And that almost went well until Jen McKay was like, wait a minute. Calling dad at 1-ish a.m. Yeah, I thought it was like 12:15 or something, the first one. I'm not sure. I don't even know how many times she called them either, because it wasn't in the first trial. Like, I think it might have been mentioned, but it wasn't clear. And then Hank said it in a hearing one day, but it's going to be interesting. So Guarino, whenever he pulls him out next, I just don't know which order they're going in right now. It's like, I feel like Lally's order was more like logical in a way. Like, as I kind of knew who was coming next, right? Like, I knew that it was going to be all first responders, and I knew it was going to be people in the hospital. Then I knew it was going to be all the people in the house. Well, they went by families too. It was like all of like Chris Albert and his family, and then it was this one. But I think this is a much more, I don't know, you don't need all those witnesses. I think this is much more to the point. Where if things are challenged, then you can bring in the backup witness that also heard the same thing, right? And I think that's kind of how he's presenting it. I think it's a more entertaining trial. Like, I think it's a lot less boring than the last one, for sure. I like it too. I agree. It's much more streamlined. 114 was the call to her parents. Yeah, I thought that. And I mean, she knew something. And then she's telling Carrie like, oh, you need to take care of the kids because I'm not doing it. When did she say that though? I don't even remember where I heard that, but I thought that was something new that I didn't hear before. I guess maybe it was Carrie's testimony. I think that no one knows where you are was her attempting to set up an alibi as well. She was going to say that she left the bar and then he didn't come home. I think that was that was going to be her plan. But the problem is, like, everyone at the bar saw her. Everyone saw her outside that house, so that didn't quite work out. But I do think that that's probably what she was thinking. But like, what an asshole! Like, just drive back and call 911. My God. And like, that's the problem that I have. It's like, you're that narcissistic that you're more worried about getting a DUI or getting in trouble that you're going to let your boyfriend die. Like, I just don't feel like she cares either at all about what she did. Like, she does not care. My radio will shut off if I get on my phone in the car. Oh, that's true. Yeah, if you're hooked up to Bluetooth. And we know I think John was hooked up to her Bluetooth until 12:29. And I think that's when Jen McCabe called, maybe. I think Jen McCabe called. So the phone rang inside her car. She probably kicked his phone off and started to put on his music and he started migrating out of the car. They were probably still fighting. Who knows what it was about? I mean, it was probably about that girl. It was probably about him being drunk. However he fought with her that morning, she was like really pissed about that. Like, she kept bringing it up, and he's like, this is how it is. We're always fighting. Like, we just don't get along. Can't you tell? And then she's like, oh, we just won't hang around with your kids anymore, which is like, he lives with the kids. Like, his life revolves around the kids. It's not even realistic. So they were breaking up, like, and she was kind of acting like she was doing everything to keep the relationship together and did not want the breakup to happen. And he was more like accepting it. And I think that that's, a big part of it. I think whatever he gets mad at her about, like whatever he fought with her, I think he just unleashes on her. And I don't know, like, why doesn't she say more about it if it's really like that bad? Like, why were you so hurt? Like, what could he have said to her that morning besides don't be spoiling the kids, right? Like, why would it be that bad? Like, how did he, lay into her so much where she just kept calling him incessantly, like, to make up? Yeah, he had the ick. I think so too. He was not into it. I mean, I think that he liked her to some degree, but I think there's, she was psychotic, like sending him all those calls and those messages. Like, that's crazy. Manipulating, like with the plumber guy, she was manipulating him there, trying to make him mad. Because she's saying like, oh, he doesn't even charge me. And he'll come in a blizzard. Like, she's playing games. She was trying to manipulate him with Higgins. Yeah, it is. That's what it reminds me of too. A toxic college relationship from her end, and he was over it. And that's the thing, like, she just never grew up. She never grew into a person. And it's strange because she has two parents that are together. So like, normally people that are like that come from a single parent household. They never learned like a healthy relationship. But she's still on that, like, she needs that like type of reassurance. She's looking for that attention. Even from Higgins, she was like seeking that, like, oh, you're hot, like that type of thing. Just like very super insecure. And that's why he had the ick. That's why her relationships probably don't last, but he also didn't have relationships that lasted either. So like, he also probably got into these hot and heavy relationships, where there's good sex and lots of drinking. And once, the novelty wears off, you realize you don't even like each other. And I think he might have had a bunch of those relationships, and she probably did too. And so, but the relationship had run its course, and it's probably that she was getting older and didn't want the relationships to end, but she didn't know how to have a healthy relationship. She only knew how to like create these like the drama. It was the drama that she feels like you need in a relationship. Yeah, the more he pushed her away, she forced herself on him. I don't buy the plumber BS. She definitely was a bunny boiler type. John O'Keefe was picking up on it. They can hide it for a while, but at 2 years he knew. Yeah. I mean, I think the plumber was just another manipulation. Yeah, he raised the kids for 8 years. I mean, they were entering their teen years. But I mean, the first 8 years when they're little kids, like they probably needed a shit ton of attention. At the time when they're like, you know, getting into like preteens and teens, that's when they don't want a lot of attention, but you still need to really watch what you say and guide them in the right direction. And that's probably what he didn't like Karen for. Because she seems to be very like materialistic and not very I just don't think that's the type of, that wasn't John O'Keefe's deal at all. And he didn't want the kids to be like that. I'd love to know more about her ex-boyfriends, but there was some drama there. I mean, yeah. There's one rumor about a guy that she lit his car on fire. I don't know if that's true. I mean, who knows? He didn't want them to be ungrateful brats. Yeah, I mean, I think Karen's whole thing, like even in Aruba, was to like buy people's meals and to buy people's love and to, you know, get into people's good graces by buying them expensive gifts. And he didn't want his kids to learn that. Yeah, the defense used MS and as an excuse for her blood out. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, the defense is trying so hard to discredit, you know, like Timothy Nuttall. And then Karen's like, yeah, I said I hit it. I just don't know how many times I said it. So it's like, why did you just do that for a day? When the conclusion is like, yeah, she definitely said it. The same thing with the blood alcohol. They're badgering that guy, which, I mean, I don't think they got anywhere with it. Because he was like, yeah, MS, there was no MS medication in our system and blah, blah, blah. But then she's on talking about how the drinks weren't strong enough, so she had to add a shot. One of them had 3 shots in it. And then, so she might have had 9, but it's really only 4. Like, are you kidding me? Like, no. I think the brain tumor is false. I think I saw something too where it was like, it wasn't a tumor. It was like some kind of thing that you get from MS, but not a tumor. It was like, I don't know what it's called, but it's not a tumor. It wasn't a tumor. But I don't know if that's real either. I can only imagine how emotional the niece and nephew's testimony will be. I mean, I don't know if the nephew will testify this time. I think the niece is definitely going to testify because she was there that morning. She's 17, so she might be able to testify on camera. It's probably going to be her like the parents' choice or her guardian's choice. But I mean, if I was in that position, I would be fighting for the truth. And I think the niece did feel that way. She really wanted to testify in the first trial because she felt like because she was a kid, nobody like listened to her. And, you know, I would want to be there. I would want to do it. I would want to fight for the truth, you know, and fight for justice for like my uncle that was killed. I mean, I think it's definitely hard for them because I think they liked Karen, but like the truth is the truth. I mean, you have to face the truth. Who knows what she was putting in her glass? Well, she said on the video that it was shots of vodka. So I think we know. I don't know what the point of the CF McCarthy's and waterfall managers were. I forgot about them completely, actually. I don't remember the line of questioning. I just feel like they were off the stand as soon as I started paying attention. So I really have no idea. He did say it was a tumor, and it was a lie. It's not a tumor. I mean, I thought it was strange when she got upset in one of her interviews talking about her mother approving of her outfit. Only time I've seen any emotion out of her at her age. That is super weird. I found that comment just to be very self-centered, because she's on trial for murder. It's like that. I mean, it's just such a self-centered thing about like getting all of her sleeves tailored so they weren't too long. Like, shut up. Like, I don't know, it just bothers me. I mean, I wouldn't, if I was on trial, yes, I would. I don't even think I wouldn't. I've never gotten anything tailored. So like I would just have shorter long sleeves. Like it just seems so like weird. Like, ugh. Oh yeah. Anyone thought it was odd, he brought up that Karen Reed had her period. Why is that? I thought that was weird too. Because I know that she said at the scene of the crime, like she said it to Jen McCabe, did I have my period? And she did. I don't know if they're going to try to say, I have no idea why he's bringing that up. I mean, I think there's blood somewhere. I think there's blood on something, because there's been a few times when she said she pulled the glass out of his nose and it started bleeding. I think her blood is somewhere, but like we haven't heard of that coming back. But like both of those make me think that her blood is on something. Maybe her blood was in the solo cups. Like maybe it was on a shirt somewhere. Like I have no idea. But it didn't come up in the first trial. It just seems very odd that he would bring that up. The bar managers were to introduce evidence to be used later. I remember that was Sarah Boone. So I guess, yeah, maybe because the videos are theirs. And there's probably going to be receipts. Oh my God. You're so vain. No plumber and no period. Yeah, I just don't even know why he's saying that. I can't remember the context of it. I just thought it was like odd. Oh, she was being difficult about giving a urine sample, so that's why. Allegedly. Did I get my period? Why is she asking though? Doesn't she know by now? So was she not wanting to give the urine sample because of but they didn't even get the blood alcohol from the urine. They got it from her blood anyway. But maybe she was thinking that the urine would show something. I wonder if she was on some kind of drugs too. Higgins don't want that weed whacker. I mean, I think Higgins got the ick too. I think he thought she was attractive, and then she came over his house, and he was like, "Nah, I'm good with this." And it's probably just because she's like so weird and twitchy and like awkward, and her voice is so loud and like grating. Like she's like, ugh, she is hard to listen to. Yeah, that's true. Crohn's disease, MS, brain tumor, and this chick can drink like a truck driver 5 to 7 days and nights a week. I don't buy it. I mean, I hope she's not drinking that much. Maybe she is. But that's the thing. Like all MS, Crohn's, like I don't know about brain tumor, but MS and Crohn's, like drinking with that, you're going to be really sick. And she does not look really sick. So I just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I was surprised she still had her monthly. I was thinking that too, but then I was like, no, she's not that old, I guess. I don't know what age it is either that stops at. I have no idea. I just know that it's at some point when you're older. I don't know what age. I know. They think they can talk their way out of everything. I mean, I just feel like they're wasting so much time. The defense, like crossing these witnesses, I feel like it just makes them look desperate because, Timothy Nuttall, everyone believes him. I mean, Kerry Roberts, maybe they cast some doubt on the house long to die in cold. Not really, though, because then they had the ambulance guy and she's asking him the same question. I believe Kerry Roberts about the taillight. I really want him to call like Karen's father and ask him about the taillight. I know they all looked at it. They're going to pretend they didn't, probably. Or they're going to lie about it. I mean, I have no idea. I think it would just be very entertaining to see them do it. That's true. That game is delaying. And I mean, I think that's what they did in the first trial. Because I think the judge was like, we're not on schedule. Because I think in the first trial, she did rule that he could use the clips. And he just never did. And never called Gretchen boss. And there was like a few things that he never did, but I think it was because the judge was like, you're running out of time. Like, we were on a schedule. And it's because of all this nonsense that the defense tries to pull. So Hank is doing it strategically. He's just trying to put the main witnesses for each part first. And then if he needs to rebuttal, he'll do it. Nate's wife and Natalie I'm waiting for. What would Natalie be a witness for? Nate's wife was there when they picked up the car in the morning, but Natalie, the one that, I don't know if they'll call her. She's the one that worked with Turtle Boy, and there's a bunch of text messages talking smack about all the O'Keefes and stuff. She's nuts. I'm sure Hank will play the clip of her father saying definitely. That was a huge clip for me. I think that was the first interview. That was before Karen did any interviews. I was like, what? Like, you're admitting that she did it. I was shocked. I mean, it just doesn't. She says, Dad, I think I hit something. And then Ted Daniels puts the car in the background backing up. That was the way that they got that video of her backing out of the driveway and bumping John's car. That was the way that they got that out into the public space, is through the father saying, Dad. But like, his comments don't even make sense. Like, if she was like, Dad, I hit something last night. She didn't say this morning. She said last night. I think I hit something last night. I was backing up. She did not say this morning when I was coming out of the driveway, I bumped his car. So, I mean, I just think his comments, his interview doesn't even align with her being like, oh, I bumped his car in the driveway. Like, that'll be the last thing on her mind. It's just such a cover up and it's so obvious. Like, I just hope that the jury's not like stupid. Like, that's her only hope, is the jury's really stupid or a cult member. I don't believe she has MS. Watch her walk in heels. I mean, well, Jen McCabe, I know, has MS, and that's how her and Karen like bonded in the beginning, like, because they both had it. Like, I don't think they became close friends, but I think they were, it doesn't seem like Karen makes friends. She may have had John's blood on her earlier. The reason she jumped on him to explain extra blood on her. She was the only one with blood on her. I think Kerry Roberts said that she had blood in her hands and she had to still had it on her hands when she went to the hospital, maybe. I thought she said that. But yeah, she is the only one that they saw with blood on her face and stuff. I hope harassment comes in soon. Same. I mean, I think that I feel like it almost has to come in. I think it's, especially with Jen McCabe, because these witnesses have been harassed. Like, it's part of their story. It's the only reason why, like, they even are following this case, probably. Like Julie Nagel, She was just there. She just saw what she saw. That's it. But I feel like it's very important for her to like have Turtle Boy showing that he has a shirt that says Julie Nagel is a piece of shit. Like, that's her getting harassed. He had a megaphone outside her house saying specifically about this case, we can't let her walk around town. Like, Katie McLaughlin is no longer a firefighter because of this case. I mean, there's just so many things. And, you know, Katie McLaughlin got harassed like that. And Karen is literally on video saying, I know I said I hit him. So it's like, it's just such an integral part of this case. Like, the witnesses had to testify all these different times. So there's so much more to impeach them about, to say, you said it differently this time. You used a different word this time. And it's like, I don't know. I just don't think they should be able to use, I mean, I don't know how you block it out, but it's like super confusing for the jury, I think. And it's hard for the witnesses to remember, oh, well, you didn't tell Proctor that. Oh, but in April of 2022, you said something different, used a different word. And most of the time, it's not even something really different. It's just them twisting their words and trying to like back them into corners. And I don't know. The 3 trout pouts. The Karen cam is great, but the 3 trout pouts are hard to look at once. So that the 3 trout pouts are Daddy Reed, Nathan Reed, and Karen Reed. The mom just looks like, she looks like one of those cartoon characters that get hit over the head with a frying pan and the birds are flying around. She always looks very confused. I don't even think she knows where she is half the time. And I mean, Karen was just a spoiled kid, I think. I mean, I think both of them probably were. I wonder what happened to the little sister. I love that Hank flipped the script and said Karen was the one orchestrating her own cover-up and openings. I agree. 100%. He was a lot more aggressive in his opening. He pointed at her a whole bunch of times. I don't think Lally ever pointed at her or ever did even remotely anything aggressive like that. But he pointed at her several times. Yeah, you definitely have to be evil and vile to harass innocent people like that. And I mean, even if it's like, the fact of the matter is that it's like, even if John O'Keefe, and I think the evidence proves that she absolutely hit him with the car, but even if it was like a fight gone wrong, that's still not like all these people involved. Like, it's not like a murder. Like, they tried to do it. It would have been an accidental thing. And so, like, it's just so weird that they have people like calling Colin Albert a murderer. Like, even if anything about Colin Albert was true, it would have been that there was a mutual fight and that went too far. Not that he was a murderer. It would have never been tried as murder. It would be manslaughter. Because if you're in a fight and you hit someone too hard, it's manslaughter. And if you're just defending yourself, it's self-defense. So, I mean, it's not even murder. Like, the fake fairy tale is not even murder. Unless, like, I don't know. It's bizarre. I think they Botox the shit out of her face. And, like, that's why she's not making all those faces. Carrie tried to open the door to the harassment when she was like, they're like, oh, how many times did you talk to DA Michael Morrissey? And Carrie was like, well, because the people are harassed in this case, so I talked to him a lot. And the judge, he objected, and the judge said to, like, strike that or something. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, if Alan Jackson's going to go after each one of them and be like, how many times did you talk to, like, the DA's office? That's the reason that they weren't talking to the DA's office, because they were being harassed. Like, if they were just normal witnesses not being harassed, they would have talked to them a couple times to get prepped, and that's it. But when people are showing up at their houses and threatening them online and threatening to kill them, then they're going to talk to the DA more often. So, they're going to bond over that. Like they're going to form relationships. Maybe they were never friends before. Maybe they're going to be friends after like experience trauma together. Her eyebrows aren't meeting her hairline this trial. Yes, I've noticed that. She looks better. But I think it's she's tranquilized for sure. Her and the mom. Whatever the mom's on, she's on too. And I think maybe, who knows? I mean, if you can't be on psychiatric meds with alcohol. So if Karen does have like borderline or some other disorder and she takes medication for it, just like the MS, she cannot be taking that with alcohol. So that might be why she was so crazy, is because she's not taking her psyche meds so that she can drink. I think she's definitely on Prozac or something similar. Maybe she's on lithium. Maybe she's a schizo. But I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited about ARCA tomorrow. I think that's going to be. I don't know what the witnesses are going to be, but I do want to see. ARCA could be all day because they're going to go at them. I heard that too. I think the plea deal was a minimum of 18 months or 16 months or something like that, and it was in the works, and then she backed out. I was like, after she went to jail for one day, she's like, I'm not doing that. I'll probably be on, who's streaming tomorrow? Probably Kevin's streaming. Yellow Cottage Tales or something. And I will pop in as I can. I doubt that they have the text messages, but like I'm interested, like what was the first text? Like I want to know when they first talked to each other and like what level of testing they had done at that point or what they knew at that point, because they literally said under oath that they knew nothing about this case. They knew nothing about Karen Reed. They knew nothing about this case, and that's obviously not true if they were texting for 2 years. So they're screwed. I mean, that's horrible if they can only testify to their initial opinion. I would just not, if I was the defense, I would not even bring them because, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we just still didn't look at the text stream 2 years later or a year later. No, that's not going to fly. I don't know if they're going to call Marie Russell. So I have a video about this too, but Garrett Wing is saying something completely different than Marie Russell. He says that those are definitely not claw marks unless they're from a lion or a bear. It's all bites. And he's calling them lacerations. Not a single medical person has called them lacerations. So I have no idea what they're thinking of, what they think they're going to do. And then whoever this new person is that's saying that he didn't have hypothermia, like that's like shocking to me. Like, how can you argue to that? I feel like all the signs of hypothermia are there. But I'm not a medical expert, so maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, he was being treated for hypothermia. His body was cold. His body was freezing cold. So are they going to argue that the blunt force trauma to his head killed him? Maybe it did. Like, and then he was just like frozen. So his body is what determines the hypothermia. But if he died before getting hypothermia, but then I don't think, I just don't know how they're going to say that. Because I think if he died before getting the hypothermia, then it's like, what was his pancreas dark or something? I think that's what they said. Camerano testified. Oh, I didn't even hear that part. He testified that John's friends had to keep women away from John due to Karen's insane jealousy. I believe it. I mean, the dog bite stuff, like, ugh, I can't believe they're going to do that again. I don't know. Like, I just can't imagine, like, just listening to Garrett Wing, because he was on Melanie Little. I have a video on it. You can watch it. Like, compared to, like, what Dr. Russell is saying, he's even worse. Like, she, at least, I don't know. Like, they're both pretty bad. Like, I don't know. Like, you have to be, I know the cult just wants it to be true, so they aren't acknowledging the facts, but like, they're both pretty bad. Arca never disproved the CW's theory. True, Arca tested something completely different, and that's the problem. And even Arca testified that, you know, he could have, the head injury could have just been him slipping on ice and falling, and that's it. And something else happened to the arm. They had no opinion on what happened to the arm. And, you know, in that case, the car could have nudged him and knocked him over. And that was like what Arca said. So it's just, but then what happened to his arm? I think the whole problem is the arm for them, because the pieces were found in his clothes. I think I see patterns that were on the taillight that match the patterns on his arm. And, you know, that's the whole part. So if they can say, you know, he fell and cracked his head, right? So Karen had nothing to do with it. The problem that ties her to everything is the taillight pieces, the broken taillight, and his arm. And, you know, that's why they go so hard with the dog bites and with any other explanation. Because if you think about it, like, look at that arm. What else could have done that? Like, there's not, you know, there's not really anything else. But if you look at that taillight housing and then look at that arm, like, you can see what could have done that. No dog DNA. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen it as a dog bite ever. Like, it does not look like a dog anything to me. I'm trying to see if I have one. Let's look at the dog bite. Let's look at the dog. I have one here. This computer is slow. Yeah, so that to me is a pattern abrasion. It's too close together. I mean, she said that maybe they're teeth, but it's an abrasion. It's a friction injury. It's not anything sharp. They have a mold of Chloe's teeth, so they could easily see, you know, if the incisors is like, to me, that doesn't make sense that this could be teeth, because the bigger teeth, the canines, those are the ones that would be like in the skin. But if you have 4 like this that are an abrasion, like, how can it be the teeth? Because you have the canines would have been cutting through, you know. It's just not realistic at all. But if you look at the taillight, I mean, how the hell does anyone buy that as a dog bite? Like, you can tell it's something mechanical. And this is a picture of Chloe drinking out of a water fountain. this was her new life after the Alberts got rid of her. I don't think that people still drink out of water fountains these days, so I mean, people probably didn't love this, but the dog was thirsty. This is Florida. I can't bring it to scale. Let me see if I can pull it up again. They're not to scale. It's just me looking at the pictures. But I just think like this top one, it's not a tooth. Like it's clearly something like metal, and that little piece that's sticking out of the housing. You know how Carrie said like there was a piece of metal sticking out. I mean, look at those pieces. Like the bottom one is like a right angle, and a right angle just like that right angle on the taillight. Like it's mechanical. It's a bunch of different like things sticking out that hit his arm. It looks nothing like a dog's mouth. And then there's random like abrasions on his arm. Like it's not lacerations. It's a blunt force friction injury. I mean, I just feel like it's as plain as day. So I think that Aperture is going to be able to match it up pretty good. Because even I can kind of match those pieces up a little bit. I just don't know. I just don't know what they're going to do. I just feel like people just deny reality in this case a lot. I just think it's just such a simple case. I have so many pictures open. Well, it doesn't like that one now. But this one, I just feel like, yeah, it's broken. Like, what are you going to do? It's broken at 5 a.m. before anyone touches it. Because I think, you know, Proctor's definitely going to get attacked. I mean, Jen McCabe's going to get attacked. And I think that the way that he's laying the case out now is that, you know, he's trying to put the jury in the seat of, you are like true crime people. Like, these are what the facts are. Like, see if you can make the conclusions, right? And then probably the Aperture guy maybe will be last, and he's going to be the one that's like, okay, this is me putting all the pieces together and like what happened, what the timeline means, what the phone data means, what the car data means. And he's going to put the jury in the seat where the jury feels like, oh, I solved it the same way. I already came to the same conclusion. And so I think it's a really effective way to present the case, you know, because they're going to have Jen McCabe come up, but the jury already has it in their head, like what Carrie said, what these other people said. And, you know, Karen's corroborating a lot of it. So Karen was 3 sheets to the wind. Karen said I hit him. You know, there's so many other things so that when we get to Jen McCabe, there's already 2 people that said, you know, the house knocks dying cold thing. They're probably going to believe Jen McCabe. And then they're going to have Proctor. But at that point, they're going to see all this crazy stuff that Karen's done. They're going to see a lot of clips at that point. So, I mean, it would be ideal if Natalie gets up there before Proctor, because then we can see Natalie's text where Karen is saying all this stuff about his family. And then, you know, Proctor's text aren't going to look that bad next to Karen's. I can't remember if Proctor went up after Higgins or before. I think he must have went up after. But I think, you know, that's the whole thing. It's like you're helping the jury look at the facts, make their own decisions about it. You know, I think they're coming to like, they're narrowing it down where they're like, all right, well, she definitely said I hit him. She admits it on video. She was definitely hammered. The taillight was definitely broken. She was saying that her last words, they were in an argument when whatever the last thing happened, they were in an argument. I just feel like, yeah, and then you just start laying out more and more and putting more and more pieces together. And it's like, rather than go in order, so Lally kind of went in order, but this is more of like a, you know, he's presenting it to a true crime audience kind of, where he's going to like be like, these are all the pieces. What do you think about this? And how does this fit in? to make them feel like they figured it out themselves. And at the point when Aperture comes in, Aperture is going to like erase all reasonable doubt. In my opinion, anyway. But I'm going to sign off, and I'll be on tomorrow for a bit, probably watching with you guys. And I look forward to the ARCA people squirming. Until next time. See if I have an end video. I do.
You have to believe all of the McAlberts who testified. And so am I correct in saying that they found the McAlberts to be convincing witnesses and truth tellers?
Correct.
She stated to Miss McCabe, could I have hit him? Did I hit him?
She didn't say that. Who said? Jen McCabe says she said that.
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
The firefighter said that she said that too.
Who's the firefighter?
Repeated, I hit him.
Katie McLaughlin, who's her best friend?
She's not a close personal friend of mine.
John O'Keefe and Karen Reed never entered my house.
12 people didn't see a guy go in the house. Like, that's what you were relying on.
12 people also didn't see a body when they left.
I did notice something out of the ordinary, like a black blob in the grounds by the flagpole.
I also was not looking out my window.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did anybody in this courtroom ask you if you were looking out your window?
I wouldn't be staring at her grass, so no.
Okay. I didn't ask you where you were staring.
Karen, we saw you outside of my sister's.
I saw the black SUV arrived.
There was another vehicle in front of us.
Up the hill towards us.
On the same road coming from the opposite direction.
It was a black SUV.
I've noticed a male and a female in the car.
A car length and a half in front of me.
There was another car that I hadn't recognized before. It was a dark SUV.
Saw it pull up, stopped, pulled up again, stopped, pulled up again by the flagpole, stopped. That's all I saw.
Just turned around and looked through the blinds.
It wasn't going 50 miles an hour, correct?
I mean, I didn't have a radar gun on me, but no.
Goes up the driveway and approaches the side door.
0 people have said that they saw him enter the home.
Because he's dead.
And at any point in time, did you see anybody exit from that vehicle at any point?
No.
You never saw anyone around the SUV, correct? Correct.
Ryan Nagel didn't see him go in the house because he ran. Because he was real quick. Because he ran because it was cold out.
He must have ran real fast.
That makes sense to a lot of people. What doesn't make sense to anyone?
His phone did not enter that home.
Oh, really? Actually, did.
That address. One of those individuals is dead, and the other individual is alive. Ultimately, and there's damage to the vehicle, then that individual must be responsible for.
So he was going up and down the stairs between 12:21 and 12:24.
Waze says he didn't get there till 12:24.
The Waze does not say that.
They were with the ascending, descending stairs.
What the defense presented was concrete evidence by the most highly credentialed people and experts in this country.
There were also some puncture wounds in that shirt.
No!
I'm sorry, puncture wounds in the shirt?
Puncture holes.
Are you aware that Celebrite has had to modify their software based on misinterpretation of data, as you've done in this case?
Yes.
No!